Welcome to Signal Radio. I'm Mark Johnson from Signal Architecture and Research. We're here with Joan and Ken Vaughn in the Forest Pavilion to speak about the lovely experience they've created here. Welcome, Joan and Ken.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
It's really nice to be back out here in the home with you. It's lovely. It's a work in progress. It's artwork in the forest. Can you talk about the nature of this place and this valley and these mountains and what drew you here?
We'd been looking for a piece of property for a long time to build our own home, not somebody else's home. We wanted our own dream. And we finally found this piece of property, 1.5 acres, total woods, some beautiful old trees in it. When I engaged with Signal, Mark, you in particular, I told you that my dream was to have a house where I felt like I was inside out and outside in at all times. And you got it right away. You understood what that meant in terms of always being available in nature, whether you're inside or you're out. And you got that. And and we've got a house built around nature. And any room that we're in, we feel like we could be outside, not inside. That's or right. Both. You have anything to add to that?
I think our goal was to be able to open up the forest a little bit, put a house in it, and then bring nature back as close as we could to the house without having it right on top of us. So every room we have, we can see a little portion of our nature out here, or, the trees, the mountains. It's like once you come out of town, you're back into nature.
Yeah.
And you just love it here.
The woods that are here are part of history, right? We look at how the house was oriented around the big old growth stumps that are here. Mm-hmm. And the echo of that is still here, isn't it? This forest is not just regular old woods. It's part of a whole network of conserved forest. Can you talk about that for a second?
Well, we purchased this 1.5 acres from a lodge that owns about 40 acres here, right around this area. But before that, much of the land was owned by Weyerhaeuser, and now much of the land is owned by the Forest Service.
Mm-hmm. The DNR. Department of Natural Resources.
Department of Natural Resources.
One of the things that Mark was talking about was the old growth trees that are here. We have the old growth, what we call the Nerf stumps here in our yard, where an old stump or tree has been cut down. It could be 5 feet around, it could be 8 to 10 feet around, and out of it comes new growth. And that's where they come up with the Nerf stumps.
Yeah.
And it's actually very beautiful, very, very unique.
And one of the things that that Signal really paid attention to when they were designing this house was that windows were positioned in ways that we could really enjoy that old growth, those old growth stumps. So we have some really strategic spots throughout the house, in the bedroom, and even in our bathroom. We have this beautiful window with an old growth stump right outside that we can see in the morning. And so Signal's been really careful about making sure that we have all of this beautiful nature available for us to see at all times.
So when we were out here early on, Juliet was here, your granddaughter, multiple generations being here. When you think about time and this place, what does that bring to mind?
I think that was one of the main goals that we had was all along was to make sure that the forest would reinvent itself and keep growing. We didn't want to stop the growth.
Right.
We wanted to do very minimal damage that we had to do to get the house in. But just like I think Joan said, we wanted to drop the house in, and that was a concept that we were looking at getting. And I think that's what we've done. And I think Signal understood that idea, and I think that our builders understood, and they were very, very happy to do that.
Yeah. You know what? One thing I just thought about is I'm not sure if it's really a time question. Maybe it is. Over the last 2 years, and I'll sit outside, or maybe I'm sitting here inside and I'm looking out at the forest, or I'm outside looking at the forest, and I see things in the yard. Oh, I think I might want to clean that area up a little bit, and then I see this squirrel coming through. The squirrels and the chipmunks, they have got a natural freeway system through this forest, so they don't have to go along the ground to travel.
That's right.
They've got all these trees that have come down, and some of them aren't all the way down. Some of them are leaning against other trees, and the squirrels and the chipmunks travel those trees from one end of the property to the other without ever having to hit the ground. So it's a great habitat for all of our our animals that live in nature.
Your neighbors.
Our neighbors, for sure. They are our neighbors.
This might be a little bit of a philosophical question. I'm not sure where this is going to go. So, with this approach that you took, and you led the team on, to let the site be what it is, like the thing that brought you here was this forest, was nature, was the fuzziness, realizing that the creatures now, they have this highway and they've adopted you, right? You're part of the habitat.
That's right.
How has that impacted you as people in the world, right? The garden that you had up when you lived up the road, it was a garden, right? You made cedar planter boxes, and they were human made, mm-hmm. right? And they were human garden. They were human. Without the humans, it wouldn't be there. The forest, it doesn't need the humans.
No.
And you're here nurturing it. You are the physicians that are out here taking care of the things. And how has that impacted you as people, as humans?
I think every day I walk this area just about at least once or twice a week. And being able to go into the area over here, into the housing complex across the street, walking that area and looking back to what we have up here, the Mount Tenerife, we have the Tenerife Falls that are there, we have the part of the Mount side that you can see. Every time I walk and look back over there, you see something new. There's something new in there to be seen, and I think that's what I love.
And you just feel how lucky you are to live here.
Yes.
And get to see that every day.
Yes.
For me, I really noticed in our old house, we had a lot of trees, mostly cedar trees, whereas here we have a lot more Douglas fir. And I really enjoy sitting outside and listening. The trees make different sounds as, if you have a little bit of a wind or a breeze coming through. The trees here, all the Douglas fir, they make different sounds when the breeze comes. And it's just lovely to listen to. Versus at the other house where we had a lot of cedars, completely different sound, but just as lovely. But it's amazing to me that the trees can have these different sounds based on the type of trees they are as the wind processes through. And I just can sit and listen and for hours. I think that sound just warms me and makes me feel good, makes me happy.
Makes you relaxed.
Yes, makes me relaxed.
You're singing my song, Joan. That idea of meditation in the forest and in sound and slowing down.
Yeah.
And that letting nature be.
Yep.
You didn't force it to be manufactured nature or controlled nature. You just let it be. So that idea of, you're here with, there are probably 1,000 people, like half mile from here,
Yeah.
hiking right now. And the relationships that you've built, right? Those folks are here enjoying this forest. And just thinking about all the people that have been involved with this project, right? We met through Encompass, which is a very, very provisional organization. It is providing for a lot of people they have their entire lives ahead of them. And Encompass is something that enables people to navigate life that maybe they were really struggling to navigate. And the relationships that you've built here, maybe we can touch on those for a minute. I feel like our relationship started with how buildings can sit in the land rather than on the land.
Yeah.
And then the team, we talked a little bit about it, Joe becoming a partner with you all out here, with Larry on the site, with David and Scott from Dovetail. Everyone cared, and this became something that's part of all of us. And I'd love to hear your side of that.
Yeah, well, like you said, we met you, Mark, and Joe through the Encompass project. And I realized when I saw that first design that you were working on that you understood that, what I'm trying to say, you understood the need of a building and nature to coincide together. I could see that with you because you were trying to build an Encompass that could house all the needs for children and families in Snoqualmie Valley, but also how that fits into the land and how our children will use that land as well as the facility. So I really was intrigued by that idea, and that's why we approached you about this house, because we felt like you probably had the same or similar ideas on how a building lives in the land and not, like you said, on top of it, right? So that's how we got together. And, the process was really great in terms of design. I already had something in mind, so I just had to get you to pull it out of my brain.
Exactly.
And you did. And then Joe came on, and that was fantastic. He lots of ideas and thoughts as well. And I think we just worked well together because we had a shared knowledge of what the end product would be. We understood, you, I, and the contractor, Dovetail, understood what we wanted, what the intention was. Mm-hmm. And your expertise, especially with helping us find the right contractor, was enormous. And Dovetail has definitely been a good partner, friend for all of three of us. One of the things that I really remember and I thought was such a great planning tool was that we got together with the general contractor early in the process.
Yep.
And,
that's right.
And worked through a lot of the details of the budget, the materials, the finishes, the colors, so many choices and decisions to be made. And we started early. And I think that made the process so much easier when it came time to really start that construction. Mm-hmm. We had so much of it nailed down already, and we were just ready to hit the ground running. And that to me was a great experience. Mm-hmm. There was very few hiccups during the whole plan, the whole process of the construction period. And I think that started with having a good architect to lead us in the right direction with a good general contractor that understood who we are and what we wanted and the final outcome. And we had a great relationship between the three of us.
I think you're spot on. I think building that relationship right at the very beginning, we built a relationship. We knew Mark a little bit. We didn't know a lot about his company, his firm, but as we worked with him, and times when we went into the office and sat down and kept going over things and working things out, we built that relationship. And so when it came time to take the next step and build into the relationship with Dovetail, we felt very, very comfortable doing that. And that was just absolutely perfect. That's what I thought.
I think that made it so easy
Yeah.
going forward for everybody. We knew where we stood. We knew what the budget was. We knew what the plan was. We knew what the finishes looked like.
And we had changes.
Well, yeah, we did.
We had a few changes, but they were nothing
Nothing
that
big.
nobody could. I mean, we worked right through it. It was easy to do. So that was really. And you know what? I have to say that when there was a problem, if there was any kind of a problem, Signal was right on top of it, and Dovetail was right on top of it. They met together, and we all met together, and
Yeah. Oh, it was a good experience
it was a very
altogether.
good, yeah.
You hear about these horror stories with people building a house, but we didn't experience that. We had a wonderful experience.
Our son and daughter-in-law are going through one right now.
A bad experience.
A bad
of
experience. Yeah.
Remodel.
And we several times we brought you guys up. You guys should really think about this. We got a friend of a friend of a friend. It's like, okay,
You know
whatever.
the old friend of a friend of a friend story?
Yes, I do, unfortunately. And that friend of a friend story goes right hand in hand with, well, my architect told me it was going to cost this much, and you won't believe what the builder said.
Yeah,
So that's why we bring the builder in early, because many times we'll say that architects know yesterday's cost, builders know tomorrow's.
Yeah.
So together, we can know today's, and together we can work on what it's going to cost, because design is the most important thing we're doing, right? We're designing a beautiful place for you that's going to last for generations, and it's going to be an heirloom. However, if you can't afford it, or it's going to surprise you,
yes.
You
then
need to know up front.
you need to know up front. And that's what we try to do with our teams, and what that Dovetail excels at. They're not afraid to get in very early and say, this is the scenario that could happen. They've built many of these projects. However, no two are the same. And they know that this site has these conditions. This kind of dirt has these conditions. This type of system has these conditions. And this is where it might come out. And the end product is a beautiful place that is an heirloom for you.
That's right.
And on that, I want to thank you both, Joan, Ken. Thank you so much for talking. I know we are probably going to talk for the rest of the day. I really appreciate having this conversation with you. It's one that we've had over time. Putting it all in one place means so much to us, and from Joe, from me, from our whole team. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, we're glad to do this because, like we said, I just am so pleased with the outcome and this home that we have created for ourselves.
It was a great partnership.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.